Indiefish TV welcomes Toronto-based pianist, producer, and CEO of Poetic Group Productions. She's an R&B, jazz, soul, rock, world singer-songwriter, and her name is Michelle Mondesir. Michelle has been compared to indomitable powerhouses such as R&B singers Alicia Keys and Jill Scott, and she inhabits a formidable space in the inadequately represented world of Black female producers. Nominee and winner of a number of TEMAs, including Best Urban Artist, Best R&B Soul Artist, Best R&B Song, and Best Up-and-Coming Producer, Michelle has self-produced 2 R&B albums, as well as leads the critically acclaimed Toronto alt-rock band Madame Psychosis. Madame Psychosis' sophomore album, Survivor, drew the attention and acclaim of playlist curators and music publications around the world. Michelle's motivational latest release, Crazy World, voices her frustrations and pain with regards to race relations and the COVID pandemic. This and all the latest from Michelle can be found on Instagram, Facebook, MichelleMondesir.com, or right here on Indiefish TV.
Welcome back to Indiefish TV. We are sitting down with Michelle Mondesir, who you just saw perform her song Crazy World. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we're gonna just roll into some questions. We're gonna keep it kind of light for the first one. So last week on the show, we had a Toronto artist, Eunice Keitan. She was on the show, and she did an amazing cover version of your song, Sunday Sun. So in spirit of that, I just wanted to ask, is there an artist that jumps to mind, alive or from the past, that you would most like to hear cover your music?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you, Eunice, for bringing me in on this. I think this is an awesome opportunity, and I really appreciate that she even thought of me to cover my song. Like, it's so crazy. But as far as someone else that I would want to cover my song, I'm going to stick with, like, Toronto artists.
Cool, I like it.
It'd be really cool to hear artists like Witch Prophet, Shy Wisdom, Phoenix Pagliacci, even Aphrose. Having any of those artists,
Cool.
cover any of my songs would be an honor. It would be really cool.
That's cool. That's like a great answer, because it's in the spirit of like Indie Fish TV, because we're really trying to promote independent artists, and like so often you hear in terms of like doing cover songs like online, like I'm sure you have, and myself as well, in order to promote, we always feel sort of like obligated or pressure to cover music that is popular, but there's so much great material, like just within our own communities, like with artists who have so many great songs that never get the opportunity to get heard. So this was kind of our way of like trying to do that. So that's a great answer.
Unfortunately, even in mainstream, I just don't understand why radio doesn't spin more artists. There's so many artists out there. Like, we hear the same couple of songs every other hour, and there's so much good music out there. It just boggles my mind. But
you don't like. Do you really need to hear like Ariana Grande every 10 seconds? Every other, it's like, I mean, in Toronto alone, like there's an insane
so much talent.
Amount of talent. Like, it's crazy. I mean, you could have multiple radio stations only playing that, and you would have a full roster. You know what I mean? Like,
it's true.
Totally.
Yeah. So in addition to being a great songwriter and performer, I noticed you do a lot of your own production, and that's production is kind of where my heart is. That's a bit of a production nerd. So that's obviously what caught my eye, but mainly, I don't know if you feel this way. In my experience, it's like, I mean, this is ironic coming from a white dude probably, but like, it's like, I feel like the production world, at least, in terms of the industry, like a lot of times you can feel kind of like a boys club kind of thing. Like, I feel like so many things, like so many projects I've been involved with, and you read liner notes, and like 90% of the time, there's a man's name on the production credits, and but I feel like there's a growing presence of female producers and like women of color and people from the LGBT community, and I'm wondering, like, if you find the industry is inclusive for women of color or people in the LGBTQ plus community, like, is there enough representation there? Is there anything the industry can do better to help promote the work of those producers?
So I think there's definitely more LGBTQ and BIPOC female producers, and even more specifically, probably producer artists than we think. But I think the issue is there, like you said, there isn't really that representation in an actual studio, and in technical positions. But I mean, there are female producers like Wanda Girl from Brampton. She made it big, like working with Jay-Z, and we got Truss from Trippy. I don't know if you guys have heard from about Trippy, but Truss from Trippy, LGBTQ and BIPOC. and Havaya Mighty, again, another a female artist producer that has been doing major things, again, from Brampton.
Yep.
So there is the talent there. There are female and LGBTQ and BIPOC producers. It's just that they tend not to be in the major roles in studios and so on and so forth, working on bigger projects necessarily. It is definitely a more white male dominated industry, unfortunately, and that I think just goes back to systemic issues that are ingrained in all facets of our society. And I find, unfortunately, what that means is for producers is that are just trying to make it, they have to basically be entrepreneurs to be able to actually be doing anything in the industry. And then there's less funding, and when there is funding, those grants are usually a lot smaller. So it's very hard. There's a lot of hurdles just to make it. And like, for example, I have to hold on a full-time job while doing this. It's like I guess a lot of artists are like that, but I mean, I'm doing production and as an artist, and I'm still having to do that, and then in whatever time and energy I have left, try and do the music thing. So those are definitely hurdles, but I mean, if you have a passion, you do it anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely more female producers coming to the surface, but they definitely don't have the platform yet that they should. And I think, just and myself and my own personal experience as a woman in the studio, oftentimes, like in terms of like technical positions specifically, like production positions, that women specifically really get overlooked. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like that it's still very much man's world, like the technical, like production world in the music industry, which is super unfortunate, because to be honest, like I know so many incredible female producers, that really, as you say, like yourself, like have such a difficult time to have any kind of notoriety. And like, especially when it comes to production, I feel like you really need, somebody to speak on your behalf, or like you need that, just sort of somebody to raise you up to say like, and, for you to do that, you also have to get the work, and you also have to have, artists who are like gravitating towards you, and like all of those things and like sort of complicate, make it more difficult for that.
Yeah, I mean, just for an example, I went to Fanshawe for music industry arts, so it's like, production, engineering, all that, music business stuff. And my class was probably 70% white male.
Yeah.
Just right off the bat. And then maybe there's 5%, well, I'll be a little bit more fair, maybe 10% BIPOC, but not necessarily Black. And then females in that even smaller. So that just goes to show how many people are even getting into these places, let alone then having the competition to then actually make it into the industry after that. So
and I think too, like there's a problem like just within the, like for women, and I'm kind of speaking for myself, but I think that I've always felt very intimidated by by production, and by just because like it's like being sort of fed the dialogue in your through the years, like you tend to believe like, oh, well, this position is not really something that I'm capable of doing, or if you don't see yourself represented in those positions, then you don't tend to gravitate towards them, even though you might have the talent or the interest in doing it. It must be like, for you to sit in a class of like 90%, white men, and have that the courage to even like, like I'm capable of this and I can take this on, and like I'm just as good, and that's amazing. And we need.
I think the thing is, sorry,
like
go ahead.
you.
I think the thing is always knowing that you have something unique to give, regardless of who's in front of you. It could be a purple alien. You are different than that purple alien, and therefore you have something different to give, right? Everybody's unique and different. And as long as you can focus on that rather than focusing on, you know, oh, I am different, I'm the black sheep or whatever, then that, for me, that helped anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. It's a good start. I think we have a long way to go in terms of overcoming, like, just for, I think, women in general, but especially the industry, and sort of overcoming that stigma, you know, that women can't do it, or aren't interested in doing it or capable of doing. And that's something I think that's a hurdle that we still have a long way to go. Yeah. So the other thing I want to talk about, this question sort of came up in another conversation that I was having a while ago, just about like homosexuality in art in general, like the representation of homosexuality in art. And like, obviously homosexuality in art has existed for centuries and centuries, but oftentimes a lot of those artists through the years felt compelled to codify its expression, and hide, you know, their homosexuality within the art. Do you think that the pressure to do that still exists? And just to sort of follow up as well, for yourself, somebody who is a queer songwriter, do you find yourself ever downplaying the differences between straight and queer perspectives in your music? Or is that something that you wholeheartedly embrace?
So going back to your first question, regarding whether the pressure still exists or not, I mean, I think the pressure will always exist until it's completely normalized, right? So we're going back to, again, what's normal in society? Normal in society is a white, straight male. So anything that diverges from that, so that's, again, being a person of color, being a queer person, or, you know, two-spirited, whatever, anything that is a diversion from that will always leave that pressure existing, right? So, but as far as I'm concerned regarding being a songwriter who also identifies as queer, I had a hard time initially deciding, but it was more about my own comfortableness with myself, you know, and the more comfortable I was with myself, the less I really cared what other people thought of me. And therefore, now in my songwriting, it doesn't faze me to say I have a romantic song and it's about a girl, and to actually say girl or, you know, lady or whatever. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. But I'm not gonna lie, I had a struggle with it initially in my younger years when I was still trying to, you know, find my own footing in my own skin.
Yeah.
But, you know, now that I feel a lot more comfortable in my skin, it's a lot easier to just write from the heart and not have to put any filters on it. That being said, I also like to write more as openly as possible, so it's relatable to as many people as possible.
Right.
So even though I don't have a problem specifying, you know, my personal preference in a partner, I also like to leave the actual song lyric more open to interpretation. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, so I think we're going to talk about Aphrose.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I was like, she's a close friend of mine actually, and we performed together a lot. And so I was really pumped that she was your selection. Is there anything you want to tell any of the viewers about Aphrose? Is there anything specifically?
Well, if anybody doesn't know her, she's an indie soul artist from Toronto. She's worked with so many major established artists like Daniel Caesar, Lee Fields and the Expressions, Jessie Reyez, just to name a few. She's a powerhouse when it comes to her vocals, large vocal range, and just I don't know. The few times I've spoken with her, she's just the sweetest person, like the most down to earth person. She's cool. I actually was supposed to be on a show with her, and then for some reason she had to pull out, and I was like, oh no, I really wanted to meet her. And I didn't get the chance, and that really sucked. But yeah, I mean, I picked her specifically because I think I don't think a lot of people know about her. Not enough people. Like, I think
Probably not enough people.
She's underrated for what she brings to a project. I just think, no, she's cool.
Yeah, and that record of hers is like, I don't know. I mean, I'm biased because, you know, she's my friend and everything, but it's.
Well, you also did a cover.
It's a masterpiece, I think. You know, like I love that record so much. What were you saying, Scarlett? Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, hold on, I've got a weird notification on my. I was gonna say you did a cover one of her tunes as well. Like you've also.
Oh yeah.
Her tunes.
Yeah. There was a live stream kind of early on into the COVID live streaming boom. I did "Make Your Mark," just
cool.
like acoustically, but yeah.
Send me the link.
What's that?
Send me the link if it's somewhere.
I'll send you over in the gram. I think.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody stick around. We've got Michelle Mondesir performing Canadian R&B soul singer Aphrose's song Invincible.
Thanks for having me.
Your love that makes me feel incredible. Can never get enough. I feel like I'm invincible. Can I have a moment with you? Can I have a bit of your time? Can I tell you in this moment you're always on my mind? You don't have to stay forever. What is that anyway? I just know that I need you. What is it about your love that makes me feel incredible? Can never get enough. It's all love when I'm with you. Everything feels so right. Hard to put into words the things you can't define. You don't have to say forever. What is that anyway? I just know that I need you. What is it about your love that makes me feel incredible? Can never get enough. I feel like I'm invincible. Oh, what is it about your love that makes me feel invincible, baby? I can never get enough. Hey baby, what's about your love that makes me feel so invincible? Hey baby, what's about your love that makes me feel so? Hey baby, what's about your love that makes me feel so invincible?
All right. Once again, that was Brampton artist Michelle Mondesir covering the music of Aphrose. For more on Michelle, Aphrose, or any of our Indie Fish artists, subscribe to our Indie Fish YouTube channel or follow us at We Are Wolfville on Facebook or Instagram.
Next week on Indie Fish TV, we have Aphrose covering the music of Tafari Anthony. Join us every Thursday on our Indie Fish YouTube channel to hear the best of Canadian independent artists covering the best of Canadian independent artists. Thank you. We'll see you next Thursday. That was good.
All right. Once again, that was Michelle
So join us every Thursday on the Indie Fish.